David serves as the head of social media at Univision Communications, Inc., the leading media company serving Hispanic America. He is responsible for the expansion of social media efforts across Univision's broadcast, cable, digital video, mobile radio, and live events platforms. To further drive discovery and increase engagement around Univision content across platforms, under Beck's leadership, Univision has successfully integrated social TV experiences in its programming, such as the Latin Grammy and many other top-rated programs. Very excited to introduce David Beck. David, please join me on the stage.
Good. Well, thank you. I think we've officially hit happy hour at this point. So I was going to start with a video, but instead we're going to end with a video. But before I start, I did want to get a sense of how many of the people in the room have actually watched a Univision show in the last month? Okay, well, that's great, because that's actually part of the reason I'm here, is to talk a little bit about Univision and what we've learned about the Hispanic market and how Hispanics respond to social media. And in particular, I'll focus more on social TV. But let's talk first, that was the video. I have to set it up with a little bit about understanding growth, media consumption, social engagement, and ultimately some of the humble learnings that we've experienced. And I'm going to be very specific over the past about 5 months. So first of all, if you haven't been reading the news or actually watching the elections, clearly Hispanics are driving the growth in the population in America. It's amazing if you think about it, but Hispanics are literally a country within a country in the U.S. It would be the second largest Spanish-speaking country in the world and the 15th largest consumer economy. And what's amazing, too, from a media perspective, and actually for advertisers in particular, is Hispanics will account for 100% of the 18 to 49 demo growth over the next decade. That literally seems impossible when you think about it, but what it has to do with is the shifting and the aging of certain populations. So while there may be populations that are growing, there's more of them shifting out of that age group at the back end. In terms of media consumption, I'm going to start with Spanish language television. And again, since most of you don't watch Univision, you probably don't know that Univision has about a 73% market share, which is unheard of really in television. And so when I talk about Hispanics, I'm using Univision as a proxy in what we know about it, because I think it's fair to do that given the current market share. But what that translates to in terms of the English language world is, I know this morning during the Facebook presentation there was mention of a Big Five, and we weren't in there. Actually, we should be in there. We are part of the Big Five. And in fact, we outperformed NBC more than 1 out of 2 nights every night of the year last year. And just to, again, give you a sense of scale, novellas. How many people are familiar with novellas? Okay? 5 nights a week, 2 to 3 million people tune in 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday. You don't see that generally in television. The audience is younger. On average, our audience is 36, about 10 years younger than Fox and many more than some of the other traditional broadcasters. And an astonishing fact is that 94% of the viewing on Univision is live. And the reason for that are the 3 passion points: novellas, news, and sports. And as I said, novellas are prime time. And so 5 nights a week, you're just seeing an incredibly engaged audience come back night after night. You literally can't catch up. You can try and DVR, but when you've got that much content, it's very difficult to catch up. So let's switch gears from television, which I think I've probably laid out fairly clearly, to really more of the digital world. And that's the biggest thing that I've heard today is around mobile, and Hispanics are flooding the mobile landscape. They accounted for nearly 20% of the subscriber growth in the past year. They also over-index in smartphone adoption. So smartphone penetration for Hispanics is about 60%, non-Hispanics about 46%. They're also buying the latest technology, tablets, and iPads in particular, is where they actually over-index at 21% of the population of Hispanics own an iPad versus non-Hispanics. And they're devouring content with those devices. Another over-index, mobile video, online video, 10-plus percentage point differences between Hispanics and the population. So at the same time that they're watching night after night, they want more content. And so let's review. When you think about this from a social media perspective, you see incredibly rapid growth, younger, live viewing, digitally savvy, and incredibly video hungry. It's really, really an interesting place to be. And the reason I'm on stage here today is because Univision has invested a lot of resources. We just heard comments about how are social media groups structured. Well, Univision's put a tremendous amount of effort and resources into social and dedicating people to spend time on social. And what we've realized in a lot of the feedback and the research that we've done and knowing our audience is that there's really was a clear demand for an on-demand digital network and a second screen platform at Univision. And what we had to start with, of course, was the content, okay? Our audience wants more and more content. They can't get enough of it. But we realized a lot of Hispanics are shifting and are more bilingual. Or they are bilingual, not more bilingual. And as a result of that, not only would the content that we produce and provide be in Spanish, but also in English. And if you're familiar with second screen, right, clearly a lot of the features you would expect, play, vote, discover, share content. But the one thing that we needed to do, and what we heard time and time again from our audience, was don't spoil my show. And in social media, spoilers really, really hurt you. So what we did is we developed spoiler-free social TV. And we created a time-synced social stream so that if you choose to watch your favorite novella on demand, the social stream that's right there, using whatever hashtags, handles, and people, are going to show you comments that took place when that novella actually ran. And then when you watched it, an hour later, your comment 5 minutes in, time sync there. You watch it 2 hours later, your comment right at the same point, so that you don't ruin that experience for the audience. And that was a critical thing that we realized given the live viewing levels that our audience has. So let's also switch gears and talk a little bit about, this is the off-screen social. I'm talking now about on-screen social and our integrations onto the main screen. What we heard clearly from our audience were four main things in the experiments that we ran on television, in listening through social media. It was connect us with the stars. Univision, help us connect with our favorite artists, television hosts, and personalities. Let us decide, okay, let us decide something about the show. Listen to us, hear our voice, and finally reward us for our loyalty. So now I'm going to show you some examples of the things that actually worked well, and then I'll wrap up because, again, it's almost happy hour. So please play the video.
And there's no stopping us right now. I feel so close to you right now.
Dicen que le tenemos que hacer inmediatamente esta pregunta del público.
¿Vas a bailar en Mira quién baila? Can't wait to see you.
Que si te enojas porque te saturamos de tweets, no. Es que te amamos a morir.
No, para nada.
Simplemente haz así. La subes a Twitter usando el hashtag PJFoto.
Y esta canción es un tercio boricua, Tommy Torres. Y estoy con Masi leyendo los mensajes de los seguidores, tus seguidoras que tanto te quieren.
Entren a Premios Juventud y busquen con el hashtag Mejor Vestido y pongan la favorita que yo se los voy a mencionar.
Esto es Premios Juventud, donde ustedes siempre tienen la palabra final. Usen el hashtag Mejores Vestidos.
Y de acuerdo a sus votos en Twitter, los ganadores son Gerardo Ortiz y Belinda.
Entonces, todo el mundo opinaba blanco, negro, rojo, negro.
Es muy cierto, pero queremos saber qué es lo que ustedes piensan en su casa. ¿Quién crees que ganará el partido de ida de la gran final entre solos y choriceros?
Estamos compartiendo con sus tweets y comentando, obviamente. Prince Royce, Jesse Joy, David Bisbal, Pitbull, Juan Luis Guerra. ¿Cuál es tu plan para resolver la crisis educativa?
Yo no voy a concederle con los republicanos, necesariamente están controlando.
1 de cada 4 hispanos vive en la pobreza.
12 millones de hispanos más que viven en pobreza hoy día.
Nos dicen aquí también, hay felicidad, que ganó y que tenía que ganar Barack Obama.
Para que la gente pudiera participar con hashtags como Obama mejor o Romney mejor, ahí los vemos abajo.
De los Estados Unidos a través de Twitter.
thank you. All those took place in about the last 5 months, and it ranges from news, sports, entertainment. But a lot of the themes, as you saw, were weaved throughout the. And what I wanted to then show you is one of the very key learnings in social TV for us, which is you must provide an on-screen payoff. So one of the award shows, Premio Juventud, that you saw a lot of footage of, we did a live Twitter-based vote for Best Dressed, Mejor Vestido. And during the pre-show, we did multiple calls to action on air. We tweeted about it. It was very clear that you should tweet and vote. However, it wasn't until the first on-air payoff where we revealed that so-and-so was in the lead that things took off. And when they did, my goodness, 6 times lift in activity when we showed fans that their votes were actually counting, that they actually mattered. Okay? And that was huge. And quite frankly, we just had the Latin Grammys, and we weren't able to do that type of social-based voting because of the format of the show. It was a strictly music award show, and we didn't see any spikes like that the same way. And you can see here in the data, these are the top 10 award shows in 2012 in terms of social engagement. And Univision Premio Juventud was #2 only after the BET Hip Hop Awards. We beat MTV, Kids' Choice Golden Globes, and even the Grammys themselves. But again, that was driven entirely by providing that payoff and allowing people to engage, so they came back 4+ times throughout that show. So that was one of the interesting learnings. I'm going to wrap up because, again, it's been a long day, but I hope that you've gotten a little better sense of Univision and what's interesting about the Hispanic market. You've got this incredible, incredible amount of growth that's taking place, all of the disruption in tech and media that you're very well aware of. And for Univision, we're sitting in the middle of it, and we've got to move forward very quickly. And everything you saw, again, on screen today was just in the last 5 months. So please, if you have thoughts, you want to engage Univision, come see me later. Thank you very much.